Oh, anger. No, I just it was part of the football game, right? You go through and you go out there, you get the first play of the game, you get a nice, great rush by Hoyt on the sack. The next play, you get an inefficient run by those guys, and then the third down and 8 comes up. You get on the grass and you get off. You think you're off, but you get the illegal contact, which was illegal. Everybody likes to argue stuff, but it is what it is. Like, you just can't touch the guys after they get to that certain spot. And as light as it was or not, it really doesn't matter. It was called. So after that happens, you transition, but we were able to bounce back and get another sack right there by Aaron. It could put us in a great situation. We miss a tackle, which we should make to limit that thing, to still get off the grass or at least create another third down and long. That didn't happen. We fight back, create another third down and long that we give up just an uncontested throw on the outside. And then the greatest throw came. That throw at the end that Dak made was an efficient laser beam that I thought was a really excellent throw. So it was kind of an emotional roller coaster throughout the drive. But the same stuff you talk about, right? How do you bounce back? The mental stamina we talked about last week. It was like just staying right there in the moment and just trying to get off the grass. And we were unable to do that, but it just didn't feel as deflating because of the penalty and because you had some ops there in the third down and long, so you didn't make. And then it was a really good throw there at the end that allowed you to see how that thing played out. And it was just one of those things like, all right, let's just get back out there in the grass. And then the next time we get back on the grass, we kind of self-destructed as a unit altogether. The pick six happened, the block punt, the return to the 10. It was just trying to play catch-up the rest of the day, which was miserable.
Raheem, how has Quentin Lake earned the trust of being used in ways beyond just some of those dime packages?
He's done a phenomenal job, Stu. He's, obviously last year when he got here, having the injury, you didn't really know when he was going to be able to affect our part of the plan. He ended up getting out there in that last game of the season, doing a pretty good job in some situations, showing some things where he can work on. Came back in the offseason, really gained the trust of his coaches for the dime position, really gained the trust of his coaches from safety position. Those guys are all playing at a high level with him, Russ, and Jordan Fuller. Then we got a chance to get JJ. So then as you're going throughout the process, Quentin's out there and he's just making all the calls and doing all the communicating and doing all the stuff that Kobe's doing. And those guys really kind of took to it, both being in the box players when you play dime. So we thought, hey, he'd be a great backup star for us. And then he had some situations there where it popped up in this game. Kobe goes down. We're able to pop, Jimmy Lake. We're able to pop Quentin Lake over really quickly. After your immediate substitution was Duke Shelley going out there because he had been doing it the last couple of weeks in practice, being that backup. Had a couple errors there with that situation, able to put Q out there. And the trust that he has from all of us is just his knowledge base, his note-taking, his ability to communicate, all the stuff that you saw in the draft, that lesson those guys got out of this kid that you knew. And it definitely got some genes involved there too, right? His daddy was a sharp player. I mean, he still intimidates me every time I see him right now on the sideline. I mean, it's unbelievable how that stuff, just is heredity as well, because he's got some stuff to him. He's got some stuff in his neck.
Are you thinking you guys will increase Kobe's workload this week after the stinger?
Obviously he is, practicing and going through the stuff and doing everything he can. I don't know if it's an increased workload. Q has played some more significantly inside for us. Got a chance to put him outside, do some different things. So we'll just see where he is. Obviously we go to practice again today with the pads on. Not sure if he's full contact or whatever he is right now. We'll find out in the individual. Let him get our chance to go out there and play. And, obviously we'll play it by ear and let everybody know what's going on.
If he can go, will you consider making a change at that outside corner spot opposite Akello?
He's always in consideration for the outside corner spot no matter what. We've done it a couple weeks where he played out there a few weeks ago and actually made some plays versus Pittsburgh. So definitely he's one of the guys that we will consider putting there with all those guys. Duke Shelley's done a nice job when he's going and he got his opportunities on the outside. Obviously he had the big area inside last week, but, those things are all with communication and learning and people being in different spots. And we've also got Trey, sitting there in the wings just learning and really gathering information, very similar to what Q Lake did last year. So I'm really excited about who can go out there. And obviously DK didn't play his best role in all the situations last week, so we still got him, and he actually made a play there in the dagger at the end of the game, which was pretty good. But he wants to be better for himself. He wants to do better at all costs. So those guys go out there and compete at a very high level.
all the times you've schemed against the Packers, how strange is it this week not to be seeing number 12?
It's great. And nothing against Jordan Love, but, we're talking about in the Hall of Famer. When you talk about Aaron, and a very sarcastic Hall of Famer at that. It's nothing like when a guy comes to the sideline, tell you what play you were in and what he saw, and then you're just like, I hate you in life. Obviously, a great competitor. We're going to go see Jordan Love. You can tell watching tape that he's learned a lot from him. You can tell watching tape they got similar mannerisms, and they're doing some of the similar things that they want to do. Obviously, Jordan Love's a young player on playing. Obviously been in the league a couple of years and learning. So fired up to go see those guys. They're young, they're hungry, they're competitive just like us. They're hungry for a win the same way. We're both got young guys out there playing and competing and fighting, and I really respect that coaching staff and what they're capable of doing. So I look forward to the challenge of going against Jordan. Not you, Jordan.
Matt, and obviously the little Floors.
Sure.
When you're getting ready to play them and you have brothers involved in that, do you have to temper anything you say, in a joking manner or amp up what
Gary, you know me well enough
that
that I don't temper anything for anybody. Matt LaFleur knows exactly how we're going about our business. We've been in the same building together in Atlanta. We've been in the same building together in D.C. His brother's here now. If we wasn't playing this week, we'd probably talk at some point, but I don't like him this week. And we'll go out and compete at a high level. It's not like I'm never disrespectful. I got so much respect for the game anyway, so you don't have to temper things when you don't just come across with a disrespectful manner, come across with a firm, and, like us coaches try to spin it into those anger moments, Michael Jordan-esque, He said he's going to force his will on me. Well, we try to do that every single week. But it is what it is. So you never get really caught up in those moments, and I don't think we do as coaches. I don't think we do as really players. It's just good stories you write about sometimes.
What, from OTAs to now, are there a couple of things you could point to with Byron Young as where you've seen tangible growth?
It's more than a couple. When Byron first walked on campus, it was great to see the presence and who he was and some of the athletic traits. And then obviously when you go on the grass and you give a person a bunch of information, they don't look that fast or that impressive. And to watch him go from looking through me to listening to us has been quite the transition. And now, I told you guys, I don't know if I told you, I told somebody, I don't know if I told you guys or not, but I caught him coaching up O'Shawn the other day, and I had to put a pause to that. Whoa. You just go do your job. Let's let Joe handle that. But he's grown so much that he's gotten really into a place that he's comfortable within the defense. He knows what's going on around him a little bit better. He's able to move positions, and Aaron Donald breathes that because we move around him so much, and his other rookie cohort in there, and 9-1, and those guys do so many things together that he's getting really comfortable, and it's really fun to be around, to watch him grow and watch him develop and watch him become the man he's become on a football field. I really like it.
It looked like at the start of that Dallas game that Aaron was going to have one of those 5-sack kind of games.
Aaron, how about the team, Coach? I mean, we were rolling.
Right.
AD, their coaches called me and said, "You had 3 sacks in the first 4 plays." I said, "Yeah, I noticed." And then
did it grade out throughout, or did it completely change once the turnovers and the punt happened?
No, Kurt, it didn't change. I actually turned the tape on to those guys and showed those guys, when you get in those situations, you got to put guys in harm's way. So those things get out of control fast. Once it got to 26 to whatever it was, you got to fight your way to make that game a 2-possession game, and at our cost. And then we almost did. We got the score, and we're going for the 2-point conversion. Didn't quite get it, and it was a dire need for us to go out there and put ourselves in harm's way in order to get the ball back immediately. We didn't get it back immediately. I think they wanted a 19-play drive and kick the 3 points, and that's kind of deflating. So the next time you get to go out there, you got to put yourself out there. You can't go out there and try to lose slow. I'm not in the business of that. So we went out there and tried to put ourselves out there. Gave up 2 fade balls, 1 for a touchdown, and then, unfortunately, the rest of the day we just had to lose slow and go out there and hit our way through some problems. But I don't think anything changed in their demeanor. I don't think anything changed with them. I think the game got out of whack where the situation of the football changed. Honestly, we had to make them throw the football because that was our only chance to win. Because if they were to go out there and melt us in the run game and not throw the football, we had no chance of getting that ball back.
Just for clarity purposes, when you say put yourself out there, are you saying be more aggressive? Or
Yes. You got to go out and be more aggressive in those situations. it's basically it was 4 minutes, very long time in that game, you know, and we had to play some very risky defenses, some more so 4 minutes, you know, type of things. And I'm very clear with my guys, you know, like, hey, like they're very respectful. Hey, coach, we got to make that play for you. Yeah, I get it. But we were in harm's way a lot of that game, and I get it. You got to go out there and play and try to win the football games. I'm not interested in stats, as you guys know. I want to win the football game, or at least give us a chance to win it. And that was the only way we felt we had a chance after all the things happened in that 3.5-hour window.
Quick teaching question, if you don't mind. So I'm thinking about it was a 3rd and 3. Aaron and Kobe. Aaron saw something, communicated with Kobe. They switched. Then the tackle, or one of the linemen jumped, kind of got worried, it seemed like.
Sure.
And then it was a 3rd and 8, and then Dak converted with his leg.
Okay, I remember that. Why you got to bring that up?
Well, I'm just wondering.
Let's go back to the guy switching.
The teaching question of it is what is it about learning to rush off Aaron that isn't just winning your matchup after the snap, that's also capitalizing on when he sets up an advantage?
You know, Aaron is a rusher who you expect to win when he gets one-on-ones. And not very often does he get one-on-ones in this league. So when you're rushing off Aaron and he explodes off the ball, you can't create a vertical lane. So you got to know how either to rush off of him, or your games have to be so tight and tied into the games that you don't create these lanes. And you got to rush to these spots on the quarterback. And when you get those things done, that's when you feel like pocket collapse. And that's what it means is rushing as a unit. And then that means when you're rushing, you make the pocket collapse, rush and coverage play together. And that's how you get after the quarterback. And when we do that, it is awesome. The few times like that one, when we get Dak out the pocket to scramble after that play when we pressured him, is when you have an undisciplined rush by somebody, or a quarterback just makes a great play. And we had both versions of it in that game. Some of them were great plays by Dak. Some of it was an undisciplined rush by somebody else, and you can't have that happen. So when you're playing with Aaron, you got to know exactly what's going on. That's why I love to see how in tune Kobe is with Aaron, with calls, with plays, with where we're supposed to be on the line of scrimmage. Am I to the boundary? Am I to the field? Am I to the call? Am I away from the call? And those guys got to be tying it all together. And that's part of his development as well, which is great to see, you know, especially when it works out the right way. And that was part of our spiel on Monday. That was part of our spiel on Wednesday when we got back. Doing things the right way more often. Do right longer, right? Keeping it simple is what we got to do more times than not. That's it. Gary, you was soft on me today.